Okay, we are living out loud. I am your host, Dave Vargas, emanating from New Bedford, Massachusetts. Tonight is the obstacles of peace. And I have returning to the show, I have the lovely Yajayra Vargas. Welcome. Thank you for joining with me tonight.
Hi, Dave. Thank you for having me. Thank you. It's been a while. The last time I was here, it was so much fun, actually, and looking forward to having much fun today.
Yes, absolutely. It's so literally the last time we spoke, last time you were here, it was January, and a lot has changed since then. A lot. This this world is turned upside down, in and out, heads or tails. I don't think any of us would have could even predict what we're seeing presently right now. A
Yeah,
lot of bad and a lot of good.
I think it's all up to how we choose to see it, right? Because it wonderful things has happened for me. Like this time, it has been amazingly productive when it comes to internal work, when it comes to integration and expansion. And staying home literally gave me just the tools to actually be with myself, right? Be there. I had nowhere to go. I didn't have to take kids to school. I didn't, only my house chores, but it allowed me so much. So I'm grateful. Yes, definitely so much low, so deep down, um, painful, amazingly painful, yes. But once you're out, wow, like I'll do it again, right? Give me more.
Yes, I agree. Things that I never in a million years that would have happened to me, I've been blessed with. And especially during this time, but I think, like you said, it's how your perception is, how you view things are. Um, and I think that's the very reason why doing the inner work is so very important, so that even when we have a global pandemic and so many outside forces that look upon us and want to challenge us, that we can handle that storm, if you will.
Oh, yes. And I think one of the greatest, it's so synchronistic that you asked me to do obstacles to be like, there's no accident. That's exactly where I'm at. And back then, when we talk about relationship, that's exactly where I was. So it's perfect. And I've been meditating, reflecting upon what is it that truly I cannot achieve that state permanently. And I go back and forth, right? And I feel the anxiety and I feel the depression, right? My ups and lows. And it always comes to how I am still believing the illusion, how I am not in my true self, right? And it works so in disguise. The beliefs are shown to you in a way that you believe it's true. You believe, I'm going to tell you, like the first obstacle, the desire to get rid of it, I was talking to you about, I got to understand it through something that happened to me actually. I didn't really consciously want to get rid of these. Who does, right? Consciously. No, we have to go to our unconscious programs. And I had this issue with my ex-husband, and I didn't know I was still blaming him. And I'm all about, yeah, I create my reality, right? But somehow that I was not creating like that it was not, it was not me, that's him, but I couldn't see it. And that was taking away my peace. That, just that peace that I was not allowing to love, to accept that is within me, that was just not being, I wasn't being able to feel peace because of that guilt projected upon him. So if something I have to thank him is he's been a great teacher for my, for unconscious projections. Amazingly, I've learned so much, and we're divorced, and I'm still learning through his energy, through his energetic interaction. I'm still learning about myself. So it's a good thing to know that even though you're divorced, you're not separated, right? That whatever you need to heal, if you didn't, it's gonna be there until you really work on yourself.
I could agree more, and it says that, you know, for all that you know, all that's joining us now, or you know, on the replay, it's we are talking about a subchapter, chapter 19 in A Course in Miracles. It was the attainment of peace, and this, you know, the sub chapter, it was the obstacles of peace. And you know, and he even you know, Jesus even mentions, you know, like we can't be our own teacher. We can't be left to be the one, you know, we're not the one setting forth the curriculum. We can't, we need the reflections of who we are to come to us to teach us. Yeah.
Definitely. And I love sharing my experiences because I always say, if this big, deep, painful situations I've been through has given me something, it's the capacity to understand other people, like truly understand wherever they are. I've gone through all the nuances regarding negative emotions. Through everyone, it's like, oh my God, why all of this? And now I know why. I can understand and I can hold that space for whomever needs it. And I think that's great that I can be able to give that, because there's no other purpose like why. And that gives me, you know, a sense of, for me to give more of who I am. So when I share my experiences and that story resonates with somebody, oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. When I get messages from people like, thank you so much, that I'm, oh my God, they're changing their life, they're doing it themselves, but you're providing that space or the tools or whatever you can give. I love that. I live for that, truly. So I love sharing my experiences and not teaching directly, right? Like a teacher concepts. I think that people can do that. People can grab a book and go and read it. But when you actually show your process, when you actually tell how you did it, oh, that's different. You know, that's very unique to each person. You're gonna resonate with one or you don't. And one of the things that through this Corona thing, I've went that I've never thought I had. See, another thing was the fear for survival. I've never felt in my life that my life could be threatened that way. My freedom, my right to just be. That was a big one. And that dropped me down like for weeks. And overcoming that was, I thought I was not going to be able, like with all the knowledge that I had, nothing was really serving me. But truly feeling it and allowing it to be and still love me through that process was what really allowed me, you know, and be here. But the fear of, I went and asked myself, what is it that I truly, truly fear? Oh, I can die. There can be no food, you know. I can stay, I cannot, what if I cannot pay my bills? You know, no shelter. My kids are gonna die. So I was afraid of, I was fearing death actually. And I didn't know I fear death. I knew that you just transitioned, that you're not your body, that you're the spirit and blah, blah, blah. But when it came to the real deal, oh yes, that belief that was there, that program was there, acting out. And that's why I felt so disconnected. And that's when I went to a dark, dark place, hell, literally. And discovering that is awesome. That's the good things of going through this, right? You discover about yourself. So that's another one, big one for me.
Yeah, yes, it's a huge lesson. It was a very big culture shock because, hey, everyone is acting all big and brave now and trying to get all, but when this went down, as you said, because there was such unknowns, no one was prepared or did the right steps to prepare us. So it was all of a sudden, since our lack of being prepared and lack of letting everyone aware that this is going on, everybody's shut down. Now I'm in America, you're in South America. What was going on down there?
Um, yeah, over here it got a little dramatic. I felt we were being treated as animals, like only you could only go out every 2 weeks according to your ID number and things like that. It was kind of extreme. So of course, the survival mechanism and all that stuff, flight or fight, you're in survival mode. We got to do whatever it needs to be done, right? But it got to a point where everything I was holding on to outside, the idols I thought gave me security, stability, just taken away. Just like I was, what? Where? Oh, it's all inside. It's all you. It's your higher self, the Holy Spirit, God, like your source. So that was another big lesson because
Yeah.
unconsciously I would grab, oh, here, oh, such a relief, move, taken away. No. Another thing, I grab onto here, taken away. So I had nothing. I literally had nothing to hold on to. And when I say nothing, I mean family, I mean friends, I mean finance, I mean, material stuff. Even the emotion that somebody can, you know, trigger within you, like comfort, like relief, like hope. I had nothing, nobody. So not because there was none, but because it was just something that I needed to see that way. My dad couldn't understand me, and he could come and tell me everything's going to be okay, but it wasn't enough. I needed to see the program. I needed to see where I was holding on to, false idols, believing that my projections are going to save me. So I just had to have faith. And as the Course in Miracles says, faith heals. I just hold on to higher self. And that was the solution. It's not easy. It wasn't easy. But I had nothing else but to prove everything that I've learned, that I've discovered, that I've remembered of myself.
Right. Everything because that's what we're looking for. Always in this separated body, ego is looking for something to give it pain or pleasure. And that's what we're going for. Anyone that's joining us all around the world, on our quest of inner peace, and those that are doing the inner work, trying to find peace of mind, and on the quest of peace, we're going to come across 4 obstacles to that peace. And we can do it. It is something that we all can transcend. But first and foremost, before it is to be all encompassing, all enveloping to everybody, we're going to come across that. Because, the peace that's already within us. It has to have a home first. It has to be within us first and foremost. And peace by its very nature has to expand. And so on that quest, we'll go over it's those four obstacles, four deceptions of the ego. And it was the desire to get rid of it. We don't want it. And I've seen so many different psychologists and great books and programs that even if we had this utopia, this great, we see the memes and why don't we all just buy this off-grid land and let's all just be together and join and we'll be away from everybody, but there would be somebody to rage against it, the desire to get rid of it.
And it all started with that tiny mad idea, says A Course in Miracles.
Yes.
You leave separate. And it all started there, right? And even though I'm going to speak for myself, I know we're not separate. I know we're one. The guilt that we just project it like automatically. Whenever you feel pain, somebody's to blame, right? Somebody outside is causing me to feel this way. And that's where the dynamic starts. There is really no one. Like truly, for me to understand this, like truly realizing there's really no one to blame. And I take full responsibility. Yes, people are doing stuff, but that's not them, right? That's not, they're not on the right, correct mind. Is it the term that A Course in Miracles use? Right
Yes.
mind. Okay. So you see past that. You see the soul, actually, right? That's who they truly are. So that's why forgiveness is not really needed. Only for certain perception for you to allow healing, right? But ultimately, there's no forgiving. Forgiving for what? If never happened. Hard, not easy to believe, to acknowledge that he didn't do that to me.
Right. Because that's a device used by the ego to create that we're all separate from one another. I'm going to create guilt that I came up with this tiny mad idea that it would be so fun to get away from this peace, get out of heaven, get out of the perfect oneness and happiness and joy that God only wills for me. The will is only of my eternal love, my eternal joy. But this sounds like a great idea. Let's come up with this dream world. Let's come to the dream and where we have that guilt, and the guilt carries with us. And as you said, why we're so attracted sometimes to guilt.
It's for me really taking that and seeing how I was addicted. I could say I was addicted to suffering unconsciously. It felt good. Even though I didn't want it consciously, I didn't want to suffer. I didn't want to feel pain, but I would put myself in that situation. And I started to observe it. Oh, wow. And I started like looking at myself from afar. Wow, I'm really wanting this. I'm really asking. I'm really attracted to the pain, to the suffering. But when I saw myself, that's where, oh, okay, so I can choose differently. I knew I could choose differently. And the way beliefs work, you don't see they're operating. You just see reality. But that's the program creating that reality. That's your projected reality, and we can always choose differently. So yesterday precisely, I had that epiphany. Like, wow, I was feeling this peacefulness so profound. And I thought to myself, how is it that I couldn't have chosen this in the past? I'm just choosing this. I'm choosing to be in this state. And I dwell in it like for an hour. It was so profound. It was so beautiful. And when I come back, like to the daily routine, I see the programs that are not allowing me to be peaceful. I see where I blame someone that doesn't allows for me to be in that peaceful state. So one of the things that I felt like with my ex-husband, I have to use him. He has been my teacher for 16 years. Okay.
Oh, yes. Right. The biggest conflicts of our life are the ones showing us our suffering, our need, and codependency.
Yes.
And stick with this. Yes.
So there was this thing going on that I would just feel the contraction. And I asked myself, what do I really want? And I felt this friendship energy. Oh, okay. I'm depriving myself because I still want to blame him. So I cannot get this friendship dynamic that I want with him. So I'm the one. Why do I still blaming him? So those are the things that you have to really live them to truly understand them and embody them, right? And be able to talk about it, not from a, you know, mental place, but from that space of the heart. It's
That you're right. That is very important. You know, very few people actually have a relationship. They think they are. It's just two bodies under a house, and but it's real deep communication. You know, of how each other can show up for one another and share their already happiness. You know, and instead of suffering, that attraction of suffering, not being who you are for someone, you know, because of someone else.
oh my God, my whole adult life has been me not being me. So I've got like a degree in me not being myself. So it was actually so much liberating and fun to go back and be me. Oh, I'm allowed to be myself. There's nothing wrong with me. It's just my patterns. Yes, I have patterns and I take full responsibility for them, you know, but it's not who I am. It has never been. And that's where my worthiness came back. Like, wow, I'm a good person. Yes, I've done this and that. Yes, things that I needed to see within myself. But I'm worthy. I am. I am, right?
That's right.
So coming back to that place was grandiose for me. I feel happy. I do. I truly do. And not from an ego place, but from a very humble, because I know I can help others with what I've been through. And everybody, when I hear other people's story, I'm like, wow, you have to share that. Well, you don't have to, but it's so valuable. Your story is valuable for other people.
Absolutely. The more we show up for ourselves as ourselves, it gives permission for others that they can be too. It's okay to be you. It's okay for you to dress the way you want to dress, look the way you want to look, you know, talk the way you want to talk. It doesn't matter. It's all up for grabs, and be you. You know, no, we were just talking about that before we were live, or maybe we were alive, but you know, be who we are, not try to be anybody else, and especially or the person that we think that someone else wants us to be. This is, you know, how my spouse wants me to be. This is how my boyfriend or my, you know, my husband wants me to be. And that's still living in the shadow of someone else. It's not you.
It's driven by fear of punishment too.
Right.
Fear, punishment.
Well, and that's more of it. See, because why, and we're addressing it. This is why I thought this was such a great topic for tonight. The obstacles of peace. Again, it could also be the four great deceptions of the ego, and for us to extend that peace to our brothers and sisters, to everyone, for it to all be all encompassing, we have to have it first. And that is what self-love is, that I love myself enough. I'm going to give myself permission, that I want to feel so good that I'm not going to tolerate suffering, putting a value on suffering anymore. And that is that next one, the belief that the body gives me this pain or pleasure, that attraction of pain.
I had this belief that, and it was automatic, right? Oh my God, I did something wrong. Anything, the phone rang and I felt anxiety. It was playing right in the back of my mind. What did I did wrong? But I couldn't see it. I would just feel the sense of, feeling uncomfortable. It was not that big, right? Once you start working on your things, the shifts are very, very subtle, but nonetheless, they're there. So I would feel, I would feel that I would jump. What's going on? Like, why would I fear? The phone rang, or if I got like an email or something, it was like my first reaction. Did I do something wrong? And that was one of the things that during my marriage. Do you hear the noise? Or is it okay?
That's okay. It's all good.
Okay, it's their dad are coming to pick up the kids. So
that's quite all right. We're all living life here. We're all living out louder. So it's okay.
So you're leaving. So I was saying, sorry, I lost my idea.
Well, that's okay. Well, like you was saying, we have this, see, the premise, for those that are joining us, the ego's mantra, when we think of mantras, we think of affirmations, we think of this beautiful, loving, great, statement that I'm going to repeat over and over again, and I'm going to feel all this peace and love and happiness and joy. But the ego's mantra is seek, but do not find. Okay? It's, we all think that we want all this love. We think we want all this happiness. And then as soon as it's this big hunt that we're this quest that we're on it, as soon as it's before us, woo, I'm out.
Seek and do not find, that's a big one. You believe you're seeking, but you're really seeking to not find. And I saw myself there. Do I really want to find it? No, not really. I want to keep suffering. I want to keep feeling the pain. And I remember I was talking about feeling I made something wrong. I did a mistake, right?
Yes.
I'll come back to this idea. And that feeling was haunting me. So what was behind it is that I was going to be punished. I didn't know, right? But it was that fear of being punished. By who? I don't know. I really didn't know then, right? But that fear was then, it was operating. And I wanted to do things like, for example, right now that the kids came in and all this happened, I would be like, no, you know, feeling the fear, oh my God, I did something wrong, I'm ruined the show or whatever. That's how it would operate. That's how it would manifest in practical things like this. And it's not that big thing, but it takes away my peace, right?
It's always the reflection of that. That's the, as you said, you know, it's the attraction of pain. We're
So
you
I
know,
had this time where there was something big that I was working on. And I felt it. I felt it that I didn't want to know, that I didn't want to work on it, even though I wanted, even though I wanted to not suffer anymore. I got to a point where I was sick and tired of feeling that way. And that's when I just asked, please show me. But I gave it, I truly gave it. And I saw how I wasn't doing that before. Yes, I came into my space where I asked, but I really didn't want to. I wanted to perpetuate that cycle. It's crazy how these things work, but yes, when you finally see it, it's like, whoa. So I just asked, like, truly just, please help, you know? And I was shown this memory of my past. So I was able to heal it through that memory, through that frequency of energy. It was so amazing because I was I was carrying this big load. And by looking at that, something in the past, whoosh, just went away. It was awesome. But I got to the point where enough is enough. Like I want to see it. And I found it.
right. It because nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I'm so full of happiness. I'm just gonna upend this whole table of happiness. I'm just gonna ruin it, you know. And I don't think anyone that is consciously thinking, I don't want love, I don't want happiness, I don't want joy. But if we examine it, and this is what our conversation is tonight, it's unconsciously that it's there, that we're getting our worth from guilt, we're getting it from pain, or whatever we perceive as pleasure from the body. We're looking for this guilt feeling that is giving us our sense of worth.
It gives a sense of power too. A false sense of power.
Yes.
Feeling it, being able to project that guilt out. It feels like power, but it's not.
It's everybody's fault but mine.
I remember the times where I would be delighted in blaming, and yes, you are. And more so if the other person would recognize, oh yeah, it was my fault. Yes, it is your fault. And I would feel powerful. Full sense of power, absolutely. And did I have peace? No. I was holding on to something, right? This is natural. This is not natural. You're forcing it, right? Peace is natural. Not having peace is forcing something. So of course it's going to drain you, and eventually things are going to happen to show you. It's to kind of slap you on your face so you can see it sometimes. But this is natural. Peace is what we are. Joy, love. Yes, and we're not going to be in that state all the time, right? We're knowing ourselves. We're uncovering layers on layers. Incredible. But it's so much fun. It's so much fun to remember who you are. It's so much fun to go back home and really realizing you've always been there. But the journey to realizing it, it's fun. Eventually it is.
It is a beautiful journey. And this may be very new to somebody. They could have suffering almost their whole entire life. They don't, and have given up any, to them, it's a fantasy that there's a, a happy ending. Because this foundation of everything that we're talking about, can be in other circles as singularity, my awareness of seeing you, the ray of light that you are in a body formation, through the tunneled perception of my mind, sees you over there as a body. We're imagining all these bodies, but that is not what we are. And it's startling to people, but that's the crux of what we are. One, this oneness, one love, one mind.
And that's like how you said, the crux is actually seeing the innocence in your brother, in the sonship. That is actually the remedy, right? When you truly see past any judgments, no judgment, and you truly see the other as innocent as you are. That's beautiful, right?
Right. Yes, we can, because that is startling to some people to hear this oneness, that you and I are one. You and I, and God and Source and where we emanated from is all one and the same. And there was a great line that I liked in it. Jesus said in it, "One brother is all brothers. Every mind contains all minds, for every mind is one. Such is the truth." And I always love that, because when we're thinking of spirit and this energy, we're not thinking of our mind is joined. It's one mind. And if for anyone to kind of crack that perception open a little bit, our intuition, one of the gifts, mental faculties that God gave us, we sense things. We sense when friends and family members want to get in contact with us, or vice versa. When the phone rings, we know, I was thinking of you. I know, that's why I called. And it's because the energy in the mind is one. And this is, yeah.
And if the energy is one, if it's only one mind, so taking that into practical purpose, right? With this coronavirus thing, with the masks and the vaccination, that was a big trigger for me. I couldn't stand Fauci face on Facebook. Oh my God. Wow. I've never been so triggered. Bill Gates, no, not so much, but that guy, I just knew I had lots of internal work to do.
Yes.
By that, to see past his programs, and to truly see the innocence, that sense, that spirit, that was another big one for me. And true, because I am the one hurting myself when I'm
when we're attacking, when we're judging.
Yes.
When we're,
yes, they're doing stuff, yes, but me holding onto the feeling, I'm hurting myself. I cannot give to humanity if I'm holding on to that. So, but I can disengage from that, and I can actually begin to take action towards where I do want to go. And that's part of why I share stuff like this, because I'm creating my earth, my reality, of people who are educated in this stuff and understand, and they're brought to their own power, to recognize, to remember their power. And that's me taking action towards my, that reality. So.
And that's how, you know, someone may hear the word attack, and we're not actually physically, uh, but it's a mental judgment. We're comparing, whether we're belittling, we're seeing where they've done wrong, we're being the judger, the jailer, the jury, the executioner. We are in essence being unconditional love, even though we're like, again, the mantra, seek but do not find. I'm full of love, I'm full of happiness, I'm full of peace and joy and all this stuff, but I keep seeing how everyone's less than me and they're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
It's because of you. The way you put the dishes wrong is why my life is a living hell. If you could just put it away a little bit better, I may love you just a little bit better.
Yes. I posted the other day how how healthy boundaries, how people use healthy boundaries. Oh, it's just healthy boundaries. Actually, yes, it could be. I'm not saying it could not, it's not. But most of the times I've seen it's actually an attack thought in disguise. You're not really seeing it, and you think that by putting boundaries, it's not there, it's not inside. But if the boundaries place because you worked on yourself, so there's nothing there to be projected. So it's an automatic boundary if you work on yourself first. So yeah, an attack thought can be something so simple as a judgment, a little judgment, and that judgment is preventing you to experience your peace. It's preventing you from your own love. And it can be so simple, and it's not an action, a big action outside. Attack, it's here. It's a seed. It could be a seed. So healthy boundaries, I've seen a lot how people are talking about, it's okay, and say no and yes or whatever, but what's the energy coming from? What's your state of being coming from? Are you defending yourself? The minute you're defending yourself, you're creating that thing that's gonna attack you. In my defenselessness lies my safety.
Right. It's so, yes, anytime we're defending ourselves, and we see this all over social media, anywhere, and the minute that I'm defending who I am to another, I'm so far removed from my real identity as the eternal divine creation of God that is all powerful. The moment that I start defending who I am, I'm defending this limitation that's in a body.
Yes.
That I'm declaring I'm vulnerable.
And there's nothing really to defend yourself from. How are you going to defend from your projections if you're creating your projections? That's how it works. And I know it's not easy. I know. But eventually, when you completely accept it, then things starts to change, right? Then you're not spiritual bypassing. You're really dealing with your things. You know that yes, there are other consciousness acting out and having their own individual experiences, but what you're creating with them, what you're feeling from them is yours. It's mine. Because I can see something and have no feeling about it. So that's not going to do anything in my reality, right? But if I feel, I'm already locked into it, whether it's love, whether it's fear. So choose. And there's nothing wrong either in judging, because through the judgments, we realize where we're at. The thing is to be aware. Be aware that you're judging. Be aware that you're creating of attack. Just be aware of it. If you cannot do anything, be with it and allow it to teach you. It will teach you.
That's the pause. That's the pause, because when peace will stay, peace is what we are after. The restoration of the peace of our mind and who we are, and the real identification of who we are, when we're, because we know that's like, listen, wait, we're one. Why am I letting my emotions get higher than my intelligence? And that's exactly the moment when that's your greatest teacher. Who we're perceiving as our greatest enemy is my greatest teacher.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
We,
When I allow my programs to run the show, I'm loving myself through it. Oh, okay, I'm doing this and this, and all right, what do I need to see here? And I'm giving myself permission to act out in order to see, in order to learn, before I would not even acknowledge it. How are you going to heal something that you don't acknowledge, right? You have to acknowledge it first. And of course, a miracle talks about it. Acknowledge it, see the insanity of it, right? Realize it. But it's okay. It's okay. Nothing to run away from, nothing to, don't be hard on yourself. Oh, I've been so hard on myself. Man, now I allow myself to, okay, I made a mistake. All right. Okay, I
right.
didn't see it. Okay. And that brings me peace, even though I'm in the middle of something, I'm in the middle of integration, but it gives me peace that it's okay. I'm learning, I'm remembering my true self.
Yes, that's beautiful. Those are the moments when I feel that I'm closer to God, that I'm closer to me, and I'm closer. We're never going to feel the strength of our light, being surrounded by so many other candles. I find out how powerful my light is when I am covered in darkness. I can look at myself in those, because what needs to be healing, everyone talks about healing a lot. It's not some physical third degree burn on my body. What needs to heal is my perception of who I think I am, the perception of my mind.
And what I think about my brother is mine too.
Yes, because we're all joined by minds. This is something that's always teach. Let the same mind be in you. There's all the ascended masters, especially Jesus, for which he wasn't the only one. And they came to the place because they healed all their wounds. They had nothing left. I am one with all of you, with all of this. The ego cannot even fathom oneness. We can't even fathom when we hear the word God, and he's the Father, he's the creator of all of us. We're still thinking in bodies that he's over here, we're over here. We're one mind. There is no space of where you and I and source and love is not. But
I'll let you talk about Jesus. I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
no.
I was just thinking, wow, like all the work, the internal shifts that he has gone through. Wow. I mean, I just saw it like right now when you said it. I haven't really thought about it until now. I'm like, oh, okay. There's a reason he's a master. I mean, it just dawned into me like right now, just, oh, got it, hit me.
Right, because so many religious doctrines and everything, institutions that were made by man to put more control of us through fear, like we are seeing in this global pandemic, things to control us and to control a herd, and it's usually through fear. But we were indoctrinated with the idea that there was only one special person, there was only one prince of power, and that is Jesus. And I'm giving him to all of you. He's gonna die for all of you, and all this business. And in oneness, there's no separate special oneness. He was just like all of us. He just had nothing left. I often have thought, I haven't seen it yet. I can't say that I've done more of a search for it, but I thought a very great book or even film would be his 40 Days and 40 Nights, the dark nights of the soul that he went through. And when he, after dealing with Satan, which is the ego.
Wow. That would be an awesome movie. Like if that could be like actually channeled and created into a movie, wow.
Yes.
And to experience the intricacies of everything he went through. Oh my gosh, I getting chills just to imagine.
And it's, yeah, I've often thought of that, and it was why through all the stories that were passed around that it seemed that he was magical, but it was only because Jesus had nothing left that could mess with him. He was in super alignment.
Yes.
That nothing, my perception is healed. I am one with all of you. And yeah, it's beautiful.
And I think there's no greater message than the cross, him dying, as to he's not the body. That's what I get from the cross. He knew he wasn't the body.
Right. I always got it. I mean, of course, they talk about it in the course, but even before that, I was knowledgeable and went through the Course of Miracles a few times. I always looked at it as rebirth. I always looked at it as, we glorify again. This is a great segue. This is the perfect segue. The third obstacle that that peace will have to flow across if we're to extend it to one another, is our attraction to death. Okay, the attraction to death, and we have crosses everywhere. This sick, grotesque idea of celebrating this beloved person that we loved, and we're going to always honor and remember his death, his bloody death on a cross. But that's it. That's almost, sadomasochist. When you really look at it as that, and what we I was reading the comments because we are live, and so anyone has anything to say, we will get to you at some point. especially during the replay. But I always looked at it because we have many people. You and I were talking off air, and I do private one-on-one coaching, many clients, and on my business page, I had someone I never met before, just writing all on all the referrals to, the clients, 5-star, referrals by clients. And I was like, what's going on? And I even talked to him. I go, well, what are you judging me for? I don't know who you are. We never even had a conversation. And in fact, if Jesus was, he's still here, we're all here, we don't die, but in this fantasy that we're taught, when he does come back, because he is coming, it's like the Q fantasy. It's coming, but it never comes. It's coming. And so it's coming. Well, if Jesus was walking down the street right now and said, I am the one, I am one with all of you, I am one with source of all creation, I am the love, and the way through to that is through me, the oneness of who we are. I go, you're the one that you're pious. You're pious, and you're the one that would be the first one to be the judger and say, you're up on that cross, pal. You're not a son of Christ. You're not, and this is what we're doing when we're judging.
Oh man, I'll share it since you brought it up. I'll share my experience with that. Yeah. I've been meaning to make like a mini video of just that part of the clip. So we were live on Temple of the Sun page on Facebook, and the host shared the link so anybody could join, right? Of course, people like you and me, like-minded, are watching it. You would never imagine somebody opposed to everything we're talking. So we were talking about triggers, and all of a sudden we got somebody who joined us and just started talking about the Holocaust, and you were insulting everybody in the group. And immediately I felt the fear, right? I felt the fear. So what am I judging right now? Why am I feeling fear? How is my projection going to harm me? So that was my internal work in that moment. I was in absolute silence, just observing what was going on and observing myself, what I was feeling and processing that. So this projection of mine comes up and it's taking away my fear. My peace, right? and it's making me feel fear. You're the one. You see, I'm judging him. He did that in that moment. But I saw myself. I catch myself immediately. That's how it's done within me. I see it. I observe it. I process it. I allow to feel the fear. Once it's gone, integration, right? So it was so interesting that we were talking about trigger. It just comes up to trigger everybody. So it was the best opportunity to really apply what we teach, what we preach. So he was awesome teacher that moment.
Oh yes.
Love in that moment I couldn't feel. I'm not gonna lie. No, I don't love you because you're doing this. I didn't. But once I processed it, I was, okay, how much I could imagine like where he's coming from. If he's coming from this pain, his own hurt, to come and do this and attack others. And so I felt, he's going through his own story, his own narratives and perspective. He has his own lessons. That's fine. That's valid. Who am I to judge that? That's valid too. He's got his own growth that I have no idea of. But that doesn't have to make me feel the way I'm feeling. This is me. So I take accountability for my own experience in that regard.
that is the way, because absolutely those are the fear, and those are those spots when the ego is front and center, because it wants total control. This is supposed to go this way. You're not making it happen. The vision I had, this utopia, this is not going the way I want it to. You're messing things up. It wants total and absolute control. It loves complexity. It, you know, not only will it build these castles of sand that we all have to adhere to. It's supposed to say this, this lies, this is how it's supposed to go. No, you know. And it's those moments when we can allow anything to happen, or when we identify that fear.
And there's so much we can make from whatever happens. And we think we're not going to be able, like if it's not structured, it's not going to be okay. If it doesn't happen this way, with these expectations, it's not good enough. And actually, it's in a spontaneity that the fun is, and surprises come, and the learning. And you're able to actually use your intelligence in that moment because you're not using any program. It's truly just being downloaded from your higher self, how to act, what to say, how to solve, you know. So you're allowing that to flow through you in that moment without preconceived programs.
Yes. It's in those moments, because it's going to come. Anyone to think that split mind, and I believe Benton just asked, define ego. Define ego is the split mind of God. It's a fear-based thought system. It is the nothingness. It's total, it's edging God out, is in opposition of God. We are by ourselves, and it's the split mind.
The ego is the personality self that believes it's separated. It's
Right.
belief in separation, right? And it doesn't have to be taken. You know how I've seen spiritual teaching works. Depends where you're at, right? Let's say this is one extreme, this is the other extreme. If you're here in this extreme, you're going to need a teaching in the other extreme so it can balance you out, right? So it depends on where you're at. So we don't need to demonize the ego, because the ego is what we use to actually interact in this 3D. The thing is the identification with the ego, that sense of being that. You know you're not. It's like your clothes. You're not your clothes, but you use it, right? And you have fun with it, and you change it, and you're flexible with it, but you're not stuck with one. So the same thing comes with the ego. So I've seen how these teachings works depending where you're at, the level, the degree that you need. For example, I was talking the other day about conspiracy theories in one of the comments. Sometimes that's needed for people who are in such extreme that that's a wake-up call. That's like slapping their face and, oh, okay. See, but other people won't need that because they're not there. They're over here. They might need something more, more later. And that's enough. That's why we see that some teachings do work for some and others don't. It's not the teaching that's wrong. It's not the tool. It's not the technique. It's that where you're at, that's not needed. So just gravitate, go towards what resonates, and that's fine. And let others do what it feels for them right to do. Because we're all in different paths. We're going to the same place, but through different venues, right?
Right. We're at different levels. We're different awareness, perceptions. We're not ready for that. It's hard to accept certain truths, and that's the beautiful part of this ever growing, expanding consciousness that we're in. It's beauty to see how enveloping love really is.
Love is all
How
inclusive. It's all inclusive. Even what you think it's not, it is. And everything is valid. It may not be your path, but it is for others. So that's love. You accept it. It's okay. You just don't choose it for yourself. But that's all right. If that soul needs it and wants to go that road, it's fine. And that allows you to be in peace too.
yes,
And it.
because you're extending love. This is that's the stark differences of fear and love. And where I make many of my decisions of people where I gravitate towards, who I think are leaders, or who I think of this and that. Fear divides, fear confuses, fear is chaotic, fear is going to be that separation. It's me, it's all about me, and nothing, or the guilt again, you ought to blame. You ought to blame. Again, the way you put those dishes are wrong. Why my life's a living hell. But love is its very nature. The gifts of love, the extensions of love extends. It brings the wall, makes it into a bridge. It is.
And that extension, it's actually the giving and the receiving. Like if you believe that giving and receiving are two different things, that's why you're gonna experiment one and like the other, because they're just one and the same. It's the extension. Once you're giving, it's because you are receiving, so you are giving. So you're gonna have the same, more of the same, so that extension thing, it's really interesting because it's included, the giving and the receiving. You cannot lack what you keep, what you give, only if you believe that you're giving and you're gonna lack. But if you extend and you're connected to source, to the, oh my God, to infinite source, it's infinite. I know we cannot imagine infinity, but it's infinite. It's like you downloading a PDF from the internet. The more you download it, the more copies you're going to have, right? The more you give it and you share it, the more you're going to have. The same thing works from the spiritual realm. It's the same.
Exactly. We're all on, again, this seek but do not find mission. We're judging. We feel that sacrifice, that if we give something, and I'm looking at everybody, all of you, where and who deserves my love, who deserves my forgiveness. And it's like, it's only if like we had, a little bit of it left, and I can't give it away. I, I can't just give this all away. And we want to see who's worthy of it. Make them go through the gauntlet. Nothing can, ideas can't leave their source. And this is why we wanted to talk about this on the attainment of peace, on the quest of peace. We first have to make a home for it. It has to reside here. And I like how you said that with the PDF. If I had I just came across this amazing book of everything, I want to share it with everybody. But I still have it. I gave it, I shared it with everybody. The love for everyone that we don't know, or the ones that are showing their pain. The others are showing that the ego is in full command, and they're in really a big cry for help, cry for love.
Cry for love. Isn't that beautiful to see? It's like a child with their tantrums. They're asking for something, right? We as adults have our own tantrums too. And it's what we see and what we judge as evil, actually. There's a cry, an internal cry for connection, connection with God, connection with Source. And we seek it through different ways. We seek it through relationship, through power, through sexual deviations, through any way. It's just us looking for our origin, that connection point. We are connected, but we haven't realized it. So that's the cry for, actually, for that we are, that love, our
Yes.
creator.
It's powerful for us to see that, because that's a huge distinction. Because that is how it's, everything that we're going to encounter is either the demonstration of love or that cry for love. We think it's a cry for help, or it's, or love or fear, but everything is either the demonstration, we're extending it, or we're crying for it. How can we show it, hate, condemnation for someone that's so lost down the deep in the ego's path?
And that's an automatic thing that happens when we work on ourselves first. It's not out there that I need to, go work or feel compassion over there. It's over here. Once you integrate it, once you healed here, the love, the expansion is going to be automatic. Like that's who we are. But the obstacles that we have imposed are what limits us, and it's not allowing us to see the innocence in our brothers and sisters. So the work is here. So once you do that work here, love expands. Love expands.
Yes. Because that was, that was the final obstacle. We wanted to get rid of it. We had guilt. So the body was made as a home for that guilt. And then we had an attraction to the limitation of that home of guilt, that home of pain and pleasure. And the fourth obstacle that peace has to flow across for it to be extended was that the wrath of God, that's as you were saying, the lifting of the veil.
Lifting of the veil, exactly. Look upon your brothers in innocence. Look upon your brothers in innocence. John Garrett Laporto, he uses this phrase, divine witnessing. I just love that. Divine witnessing. Witness the divine in the other. That heals. I know it's not easy. Well, I had that belief that it wasn't easy. But once you start making it part of your life and understanding it's you, it's all you, it's going to be easy to see me there, love me in that version, love the creator expressing in that way. That's peace. That's world peace, actually, right? It's from within.
Well, and yes, I felt so amazing because in this world of illusions, in this dream world of ours, we're seeing what we perceive. And that's also what quantum physics tells us, it's reality changes based on the observer, you know. So why do some of us see some of the same things, like cars? We're all in a super conscious agreement in that belief. That's a very strong belief. That's beautiful. Some of the first things that I saw happen during this pandemic, and I made a post about it. We had all this beautiful global group healing prayers. We're all getting together, consciously getting together, the joined mind of healing and love and peace and joy. And then that couldn't last long. We all went back. We actually went to the heroes that dedicate their lives to trying to make everybody okay. Hey, I dedicated my life to infectious diseases. Oh, but I'm the enemy. We're attacking everybody. We're attacking people that has dedicated their lives to try, and instead of just getting rich or being a capitalist, they have, But be that as it may, the subject matter, we all went back to trying to get rid of it. We just all went back kind of to normal.
We need to go through what we need to go.
Yes.
For to see it. And no judgment in that, we needed to go through this COVID thing as a collective. We needed to. How much good can you take out of it? Can you make out of it? That's in your hand, right? And that's where my focus shifted, because I was very much in so much rage and hatred. It was within me. I did not know it was within me until this triggered it. And I'm grateful for it, because I was able to recognize it and work with it. And just allow it. Yes, I was feeling that. And I was attacking my comments, how I talk to people. I knew it, but I was aware. And I just felt that was my outlet. Like I couldn't just deal it like over here quietly. I needed to express it.
Yes.
Didn't judge myself for that. I allow it. I allow that. And once that moved through me, oh man, I could just be, thank you. I'm back. I'm here. So that was my process, and I'm not ashamed of it.
No.
It was what I needed.
I agree. This is why many people are saying this is beautiful, ultimate time of healing. In fact, it's going back of what I said. We're all in this agreement as a collective consciousness of the illusions that we see. We're seeing some ugly things in these illusions, corruptible things in these illusions that we don't like. And we turned a blind eye to it. And it's all coming up. This is a great time for healing, because all that's toxic, it's the corruption, we've let the ego run amok unconsciously as a collective, to me. And I think that's with everything that we're talking about in any subject matter right now. This has always been going on, and we turned a blind eye, especially as spiritual community. I'm not going to participate. Let other people handle it. It's not for me. I'm spiritual. I don't vote. I'm not a part of no process. You know, what does it do? The government's corrupt anyways. And just there, we've come to an agreement in our consciousness that there's corruption and that is okay.
It's been a
You know,
spiritual purge collectively, definitely. Yes.
and so, it's letting everything come up, and it has to come up. It's going to be painful, but I really envision a lot of beautiful things on the horizon.
And when we look back, it's beautiful in itself, right? And I acknowledge the pain. I know the pain, I know the suffering. But understanding that that was necessary to bring more of yourself, of your authentic self, that makes it beautiful for me. That's how I see it.
Absolutely. It's all in one. We are singular, and it's never losing sight of that within our own, framework of perception. That, all this toxicity is coming up, changes. We don't like change. Again, the ego loves total control. So it's being okay that things change, painful things are coming, because it's transforming and it's restoring the memory of who we are. And we can never obtain peace without overcoming the opposing force to that. The opposing force within us is the realization as the holy divine creation of source.
The beauty of source, who we are.
Yes. We're never alone. We're not limited by nothing. So I really am so blessed that you spent so much time with me and coming back on with me.
I'm so honored. Thank you so much for having me. I love sharing my experiences if it's gonna help one person. Oh my gosh. I always say this because the most help I've got from is from people who just openly shared how they did it. So that was so valuable for me. So this is my way of giving back.
Yes, and you do so wonderful and and incredible in many different ways. And share with everyone where they can typically find you. And
Yajayra Vargas, my Facebook page and my Instagram. So
yes,
yeah.
absolutely. And you periodically hosting and moderating a lot of lives and uh, channeling sessions through others and with others, always sharing your gifts of peace and extending your love to others. And I want to thank you for extending it with me tonight.
Thank you so much. I love your work. I love your enthusiasm, your energy, your authenticity. Thank you for just being you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. We are living out louder. Thank you, everyone all around the world that took time out, joined with us. We'll get back to all your questions on any watch parties, lives, YouTube, and any of the replays. We love you all, and thank you again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.